I just want to say this right now. This stops now. The Elder Scrolls, its wee run of nonsense stops now. It's Metal Gear. Do the right thing, Cardinal. Less of your nonsense. Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 110 of High Scores, High Stakes, the podcast that always finishes what it starts. I'm your host, as always, Mr. Luvva Luvva, and with me are my co-hosts.
That's right, Luvva. It is Cardinal Smith, and how is your face tonight?
Dave, the same as it is every week, mate.
The last 40 years, that face has not changed.
The trip to Turkey is booked in for next week, so maybe a different answer.
Brilliant. And super excited to get part 2 underway. It's Tomahawk. How are we doing, guys? This is unprecedented in High Scores, High Stakes lore. We seldom do two-parters.
Yeah, I think this might be our second one ever.
I think so. We did our retrospective season 1 back when we were wee nippers.
Yeah.
Now we have an actual part 2, which was left on a bit of a cliffhanger, to be honest.
Yeah, some big matchups tonight. Some big matchups. But before we get in, yeah, I'm not. I've made up my mind who I'm voting for here, boys. It's going to be straightforward. It's going to be easy. I can't wait to get into it. I'm not nervous. Got a war shit. But
There's going to be some blood spilt in this episode.
Right. Before we get into the PlayStation franchise tournament and crown our winner, the best PlayStation franchise ever, let's tell everyone who we are and what we do here at High Scores, High Stakes for first-time listeners. We, whilst in season, are a competitive PlayStation podcast where every week myself, Tomahawk, and Cardinal compete against one another in PlayStation gaming challenges. Every week we pick a new game and we play a challenge in that game. The winner of the challenge gets 3 points, second place gets 2 points, third place gets 1 point. These points go into a league. Whoever is top of the league after 12 weeks wins the highly sought after High Scores, High Stakes Cup.
Ooh,
currently, our champion is Tomahawk,
this guy
who finally won a season after 2 years of trying. He finally did it, and now he wants to go back to back. Cardinal, now we're not going to allow it.
It doesn't happen. That doesn't happen in this house.
Canonically, it cannot happen, but I must make it happen.
It's not going to happen. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that it doesn't happen. But anyway, if 1 hour-ish of content a week isn't enough to fill your week, you can go to highscoreshighstakes.com, and there you'll find links to everywhere we are all over the internet, and you can fill your week with High Scores High Stakes content. And whilst you're at the website, you'll notice the little tab that says merchandise. Click on that and it'll whisk you away to our store where you can buy all manner of merchandise, including t-shirts, hats, stickers, cups. Oh,
indeed.
It's not a winner's cup, but it's as close as, and it'd be more legitimate a Champions Cup than Tomahawk's after his social media wranglings.
Less of that.
But that's who we are, and that's what we do. Off season, we talk all things PlayStation, all things gaming, and every now and again we play wee fun games. This week we are going to finish off that tournament, but before we get into the tournament, Cardinal, please tell me, what are you playing?
Well, Luvva, you know I only play absolute bangers. Week in, week out. What words? And I just need to come back to you and tell you, this week I've been playing, I can't pronounce it, Abiotic Factor?
Right.
Abiotic Factor? I don't know how to say it.
Is this a Final Fantasy spin-off?
It's not. This is essentially like a multiplayer co-op Half-Life based game, right, where you are one of the scientists left behind, who's not Gordon Freeman, and you must work with other scientists to survive the absolute chaos and things that are going on down there.
All that alien stuff,
army stuff coming in, cleaning stuff up. It's all going on. Things get wacky.
So it's just like what was going on the other side of the coin then? Is this that kind of...
Yeah, essentially Gordon Freeman's out there and he's doing whatever's going on. These guys are still down here trying to find their way out. But they're just, wee wimpy scientists, I guess.
So was Gordon Freeman. He ended up saving the known universe.
Well, yes.
Twice.
He stepped up. That's it. He stepped up.
Yeah. It's all the HEV sets. That's what I say. But is it good?
It's absolutely fine.
Wow.
I think it's a fan-made mod thing, is it? Or is this an actual game?
No, it actually looks like you're playing Half-Life in 1998.
Okay. Okay.
It's fun. It's a bit of fun, right? But anyway, that's about the height of it.
It's not Final Fantasy, so that's a uptick in content quality there from Cardinal Smith. Thank you very much. Tomahawk, please save this. And tell me, what are you playing?
I'm going to start telling you what I was playing by telling you what I wasn't playing this week.
Ambiotic Factor.
That I also wasn't playing Infinity Nikki because I heard that there was a big update that was dropped. So I thought to myself, I'll download it. I'll let all the patch updates do their updating. I boot the game up and it hits me with like 4 different in-game updates that won't let me progress or skip anything. So needless to say, I'm never playing Infinity Nikki because I can't get past the mandatory loading screen, it seems. So sorry, we won't know if it's Game of the Year material. Not on this podcast, at least anyway. What I did do is, and this is kind of inspired by what we were talking about last week, I went and started playing Siphon Filter.
Ooh.
No.
I don't understand any of it. Literally the first mission, ran around shooting a whole load of stuff, didn't realize that you could just run through a pane of glass or run through a door and that door will break or the glass will shatter. And then I failed an objective and it just hurled me back to the start of the game.
Siphon Filter game.
I'm surprised you're able to shoot anything with the control system.
It was utter jank. But I'm hooked in a weird way that I appreciate what the game probably was back in the day.
It's a really good game. It is a really good game. The control scheme for the first level is fine. It's a wee bit loose, but it's the second mission where the controls will bite you hard.
Okay. It's one that was testing my patience because it gives you the objective, but no real indicator of what you're supposed to do, where you're supposed to go. So I just ran in the most linear path I can think of. And then next thing you know, big mission objective failed, came up on the screen, and then everything just faded to black. And I went, oh, right.
yeah. It takes some getting used to. Stick with it, though. It's a really good game.
It looks good. It looks like for PlayStation 1, it looks really good, even with the in-game, like the cinematic, quote unquote, where they actually like have moving mouths and it looks like they are articulating. It looks quite cool for back in the day. So
I mean, you say moving mouths, but it's like 2D pixels that just go up and down, like one of those like Tamagotchi things.
But like back in its initial release, I'm sure that was like utterly groundbreaking. Yeah,
it did.
So Siphon Filter is, I'm giving that a little bit of love because I sort of wrote that off pretty early doors last week.
It's a really good series. The first one's really good. It's there's a lot to like about it. Yes, it's old now, but it's nearly 20, 30 years old now.
Easily. Yeah.
So there's a lot to like in it. I think it's a really good game. I think the mission structure in it is actually pretty good. Once you get your head around how it works.
The second I just cannoned into a building, a room or whatever it was and just ran through the pane of glass, I was like, this is the game for me.
Have you tased anyone yet?
No, not yet.
What are you doing, Tomahawk?
You've not played Siphon Filter at all if you haven't tased anyone and set them on fire and listen to them scream.
Step away now, turn the PlayStation on, equip the taser, come back to us in 5 minutes.
Yes, and then we can talk about now that you've really played Siphon Filter. I mean, you haven't played Siphon Filter.
Next week when Tomahawk plays Siphon Filter.
You've not played Siphon Filter until you've tased someone to death. It's incredible. It really is.
Speaking of tasing people to death, though, Luvva, what are you playing?
I have been playing Taser Simulator 2024.
Just for that moment, I believed him. Just a small moment of me went, That's a thing. They're really taking these simulator games one step too far.
I have not been playing Taylor Simulator, although there's someone right now
Taylor Simulator?
Coding tasers, and I'll play Taylor Simulator. But no, what I've actually been playing is in preparation for this month's game of the month. So I have been playing The Last of Us Part 1, the remaster for the PlayStation 5. I'm not going to spoil too much because it is game of the month this month. It's bloody great.
It's the game of the month this month.
Yeah. It is.
Yes.
Guys, give me some heads up.
I mean, wow, you've had 5 months.
Oh, brilliant. It's gorgeous though, isn't it? Like that PS5 upgrade is just phenomenal. Really,
Unbelievable.
Really
it's just the little things in it that make it look really good. But I'm not going to get too much into it because we will be talking about this in, next week?
A week, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'll keep it all to that. I have been playing that. I am just past the high school. That's where I currently sit. 3 hours in, just past the high school. But I will keep all my thoughts and feelings about The Last of Us Part 1 and the original Last of Us and Last of Us Remastered and any of the other 52 times it's been remade since 2013 until next week. So if that doesn't get you back in your seats for next week, nothing will. But anyway, let's concentrate on this week. And this week we have the little matter of finishing this PlayStation's greatest franchise tournament. Now, last week we talked a lot. It was a very, very long record. Yeah. We still have the round of 16, the round of 8, the round of 4, and then the round of 2 still to do. So we have 4 full rounds before we crown the PlayStation's greatest franchise ever. So I think we need to stop talking right now and get into completing this tournament.
We do, but round of 8, I mean that's a quarter final and okay, round of 8, round of 4, that's a
We're not a sports podcast, all right.
Round of 2, what? Anyway,
well, be quiet, Cardinal. Let's go. And here we are, gentlemen. Let's get straight into this. Last week we left it after the first round. We have 4 rounds to get through tonight. So let's get straight into it. Cardinal, you're the man with the Excel spreadsheet in front of you. What is our first matchup tonight?
Okay, folks. So these 2 franchises made it through the first round, obviously. They knocked out the Yakuza games and Infamous. So this lineup is Tomb Raider versus Twisted Metal. Battle of the T's.
Battle of the OG PlayStation games too.
That's it. I'm going to start, and I'm going to throw my hat in the ring for Tomb Raider, only because I've played one Twisted Metal game ever. And Tomb Raider just has this longevity and has just continued. It has even gone ahead and done a whole reinvention. It may have just sort of followed the Uncharted blueprint, but the new trilogy was very good, and I did really, really enjoy it. But there's an awful lot to be said about how the OG games just were and what they've set that blueprint for the platforming action adventure genre, I suppose. So, yeah, I think Tomb Raider for me all day long.
Okay. Just to add jeopardy, I love Tomb Raider. And going on record, I love Tomb Raider. I think that's obvious from our game of the month and the first Tomb Raider. Twisted Metal for me. And let me tell you why I'm going Twisted Metal over Tomb Raider. Number 1, Tomb Raider and the Angel of Darkness. One of the worst games I've ever played.
That's it. Is that the only argument you're going to get?
No, I can expand on it. All right. The original trilogy on PlayStation 1, superb. All right. And then you had the second trilogy, also on PlayStation 1, not so superb. Tomb Raider 4 is a really good game. Tomb Raider Chronicles is okay. And the last one, which I can't remember the name of right now, not so good. And then we have Angel of Darkness, one of the worst games ever made. And then we have the first of the Crystal Dynamics trilogy. You had Tomb Raider Anniversary, Tomb Raider Legend, Tomb Raider Anniversary, Tomb Raider Underworld, something like that.
Something under something.
It's forgotten because it isn't very good. And then we have the new trilogy, the Survivor trilogy, Tomb Raider 2013, great game.
Rise of the Tomb Raider, and then Shadow of the Tomb Raider, yes.
Rise of the Tomb Raider is probably the best one of the three. And then we have Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which is forgettable. I'm going to go Twisted Metal because I played Twisted Metal 1, 2, 3 on PlayStation 1 and then played Twisted Metal Black on the PlayStation 2. Twisted Metal Black, Twisted Metal 1 and 2 are all really fun games. Twisted Metal 3 isn't as good as the first two, but it's still a good game. It's still a good game. It hasn't stumbled as hard as Tomb Raider, and that's probably because it hasn't had the longevity of it, and it's probably never coming back. But just to add jeopardy to this, I'm going Twisted Metal.
Oh my goodness.
Fair.
Okay. And that means they're a draw, so they both go through. No. Do you know what? One thing, Tomahawk mentioned that there was a TV series of Twisted Metal, and I just looked it up. Came out 2 years ago. It's a respectable 7.3 on IMDb.
I really enjoyed Twisted Metal, the TV show. I thought it was really good fun. I can't wait for the second season.
Okay.
And that's one thing that hits me is out of the two games I would enjoy or have the most fun playing, it would probably be Twisted Metal. What franchise do I think should go through? I think Tomb Raider has an identity crisis sometimes about where it wants to go, but I think overall I'm going to throw my weight behind the Raider of Tombs.
I have no issue with that at all. Just if it wasn't doing this on the podcast, I'd go for Tomb Raider 2. I'm not going to lie. But it needs a wee bit of jeopardy, doesn't it?
I was trying to draw out a bit.
I like Tomb Raider. I think Tomb Raider should go through, but Twisted Metal, just a great series of games.
I think it needs a little bit more love as well, but that's it. Twisted Metal has ran its race in this tournament.
Rest in peace.
A little salute to Twisted Metal.
I would say you shall be missed, but probably not.
But alas, it has gone. Which moves us on to the next pairing. Folks, in this part of the bracket, we lost out on Gran Turismo.
Didn't deserve
it, man. Ridiculous.
It's a travesty.
That is ridiculous.
Didn't deserve it. The better game won.
But the game shouldn't have been involved in the first place. Let me read this out, would you? And then Kingdom Hearts also lost out. 2 gargantuan titles. But what have we got left? Well, this time it's the Battle of the S's. It's Street Fighter versus Silent Hill.
This one is
one's going down.
This is the first of this last 16, I think, that has a little bit more stakes and gravitas to this decision now.
Yeah.
I think we should let Luvva go first on this one because I think he's got a good foot in both camps, and I think this decision is going to be more hilarious if he kicks us off.
Let's watch him sweat.
I don't know. Street Fighter, but by the same token, Silent Hill is Silent Hill. They're both huge franchises, aren't they? So it comes down to two things: the quality of the franchise as a whole and the individual quality of the best games in the series, I think. So let's discuss this. Silent Hill 1 of the I stand by this. Street Fighter is a better franchise than Gran Turismo. But anyway, let's talk Street Fighter. Street Fighter is Street Fighter. It revolutionized gaming. It reinvigorated the arcades in the West for sure. It created the fighting game boom of the early 90s. It never really left until the early 2000s, mid 2000s. And it is Street Fighter. It's given us some of the most iconic music in video gaming, some of the most iconic sounds, some of the graphics, characters, costumes. It's just a utterly superb franchise. And then we have Silent Hill. Silent Hills give us one of the most iconic, not just video game locations, but horror locations. And Silent Hill 2 is probably the pinnacle of the series. And it is one of those horror games that have stuck with me pretty much my entire adult life. It's a really important game. Silent Hill 3, I think, is a really, really good sequel to Silent Hill 1. It's probably the perfect sequel to Silent Hill 1. And then the series takes an absolute nosedive. I mean, Silent Hill 4 The Room, good idea, really bad execution, really good story in that game, but pretty poor execution. And then we go into Silent Hill Dark Ages, when you have Wii exclusives, and oh my day, shattered memories, downpour, the whole heap, awful games. And then PT kind of reinvigorated it, and then it kind of disappeared until last year. So it took a decade-long hiatus after arguably half a decade of mediocrity.
Very mid games going through the grinder, like.
So this brings us to which one had the longest legacy. That's Street Fighter, but can we put Street Fighter 3 over Silent Hill? Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3 are inarguably a franchise. Those games are linked inexorably to PlayStation. I think the pinnacle of Street Fighter 6, and I think the pinnacle of Silent Hill is Silent Hill 2. And the remake that came out this year is incredible. I'm going to go Street Fighter.
Oh, wow. Not where I thought.
Silent Hill in the dirt. It's deleted.
I'm going to go Street Fighter.
Right. Well, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring on this one then. There's something to be said about the survival horror genre.
Yeah.
And I'm going to sort of take a leaf from what Cardinal said about in our Phasmophobia episode. There's a game something about a game that like constantly scares the life out of you, that makes you stop playing, but also has enough of a hook that keeps bringing you back.
Yeah.
Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3, I think, is pretty much peak. We do know it sort of fell off a cliff here, and Bloober have just dragged it back into relevancy. And there's something about even watching it on streams, anywhere, at any point anyone's playing Silent Hill 2 Remake, I'm like, nope, can't do it. Let's take that away. I weep for the day that I actually get to play it myself. But watching it, playing it, everything about Silent Hill always just has me, no matter what graphical style we're going for. I'm really excited for Silent Hill F, I want to say it's called. It sits with me in a kind of a bone-chilling way that Street Fighter can't really attain. Mm-hmm. So, and that hook constantly. So yeah, I'm gonna level this out and go Silent Hill.
Yep, that's fine.
It has its flaws. It has its
no, I agree.
Drop in the series, but there's just something about this franchise that I'm like, man, you just keep bringing me back.
Yeah. I mean, I went Street Fighter just because I think you and Cardinal both going to go Silent Hill, to be honest. I mean, I have so many great memories with Silent Hill as a franchise, especially the first two.
Yeah.
The first two. One of the scariest gameplay moments in my life was playing Silent Hill 1, 3 o'clock in the morning. Papa Luvva came in from work and opened it. I didn't hear the door open because I was so absorbed in Silent Hill. Yeah. And then the bedroom door opens, scared the life out of me, then play it again for another 3 days. Just
class.
Gents, your little look, that's all lovely. That's beautiful talk. Really sentimental. I love it. But I'm not here for sentimentality. Look, Silent Hill, I'm never going to play it. Not interested. I will watch Luvva stream it. I will watch Tomahawk stream it if he does. I did watch Luvva stream the Silent Hill 2 remake, and even the sounds coming in my headphones was ridiculous. And I don't think I was hearing everything Luvva was experiencing and hearing to the full extent.
Yeah.
What I am... Street Fighter, okay, personally, maybe shouldn't be in this category, but it is. So I have to deal with the hand that I'm playing. Street Fighter versus Silent Hill. So it comes down to personal preference. Street Fighter is completely iconic. It's got some of the most... I could name any character from Street Fighter 2 and you will immediately picture that person and what they're wearing and even maybe remember some of their special moves. It's Street Fighter.
Wow.
Bye-bye.
R.I.P. Silent Hill.
Cold.
Just goes to show you, if your series ain't strong enough. I do think, pound for pound, Street Fighter probably is. They're both going for very different things, obviously, but I do think pound for pound, apart from if you discount Street Fighter, the original terrible one, Street Fighter 2 is incredible. Street Fighter 3 is incredible. 4 is incredible. 5 after a while was incredible. 6 is incredible. And then you have the spin-off series, Alpha, 2, 3, incredible.
Yeah.
Capcom versus SNK, incredible.
So we have our first quarterfinal.
We do.
Yeah.
That's going to be
Street Fighter
Tomb Raider versus Tomb Raider.
Incredible scenes. Incredible scenes. But that's only one quarterfinal sorted out. We have 3 more. Let's go.
Well, let me tell you, we've got quite a few more than that. This round it knocked out Siphon Filter, it knocked out Jak and Daxter, and that leaves Elder Scrolls versus Tekken. Let me just start, because I've been the cake maker for the last 2 rounds. So the pressure's going on someone else.
Please tell us what you think about Elder Scrolls then, yes.
Yes.
No, please tell me about the bugs.
Look, I've already told you everything, or most of what I want to say about Elder Scrolls in the first episode. What I will say is what's harmful for the series, apart from the bugs, the unplayability. Well, it's a brilliant experience, and it's one that I've totally find immersive and enjoyable. Really, there's only been 2 proper games on the PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had this Elder Scrolls 6 Hammerfell, which we've seen like a screenshot of a title for what feels like a decade. So there isn't. Where's the franchise?
Yep.
Where is is it continuing? Is it being made? I don't know. Well, they probably have 8 billion new bugs to work through.
They don't work 6 billion. They don't work 3 bugs.
Right. The fans fix the bugs.
Yeah.
Tekken, however, is one of my most preferred beat 'em up games, fighting games, and that's even if I just pick Jin and spam the same move repeatedly against an old guy with wacky hair. I love it. Passionately, though, personally speaking, it has to be Elder Scrolls. You already knew that.
Oh, we did, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I'm going to jump in here. All right, Elder Scrolls, dreadful games.
You can't say they're dreadful games.
I did.
Well, you can.
I did, yeah. And if Tara Hard wants to give me an upgraded PC to change my opinion, I'm listening. I'm all ears, Todd. No, they're not terrible games. I just don't like them. But their legacy on PlayStation is one riddled with failure after failure after failure. I think Skyrim on its release on PlayStation, well, no, not just on its release. Skyrim on PlayStation 3 was an absolute disgrace. Totally unplayable. And they never fixed it. And obviously PlayStation 3 didn't support mods. So I'm discounting Skyrim from PlayStation 3. Totally. A totally unplayable game. Apparently the Oblivion remake is suffering from the same sort of memory leak issue as that as well. So the longer you play it, the more buggy it becomes. Incredible scenes. Maybe we should upgrade our PlayStation 5s whilst we're at that thought. Let me talk about Tekken though. One of the iconic PlayStation franchise. Tekken 1, incredible for its time. Tekken 2, an improvement somehow. Don't know how they did it, but it was an improvement. Tekken 1. Tekken 3 though. Tekken 3. I remember, I'm old enough to remember game reviews using the words arcade perfect. Tekken 3 never got called arcade perfect. And that is because it got referred to as superior to the arcade in every way. Tekken 3 is one of the most incredible home conversions I have ever played, and it's one of the best fighting games I have ever played. Unbalanced to all hell. I'm looking at Eddie Gordo.
As all good fighters should be.
Yeah, but no, Tekken is just one of those. It's had its dips in quality. I think Tekken 4 is great. Tekken 5, though, no thank you. Tekken 6 was a step in the right direction, but Tekken 7 is an incredible game. an incredible game. Tekken 8 is currently going through its own set of issues where the latest patch has completely devastated the game by nerfing all the good characters into nothing. But they are working on it. I think there's a patch due to time of recording tomorrow that is set to fix a lot of the inadvertent nerfs. But no, Tekken is, when I think PlayStation, the first publisher that comes in my head is Namco, and Tekken is probably the second game that pops in my head when I think PlayStation after Ridge Racer. It has to be Tekken.
So I have the beautiful position where I get to decide the tie break here now. So we've got one hand, Tekken 3, Tekken Tag Tournament, Tekken 7. That is my holy trinity of Tekken. Realistically.
Pretty solid.
I love the bowling. I love every aspect of Tekken. I think it's just a phenomenal fighter. I do prefer it over Street Fighter. I think I've said that many a time on the podcast. I liked Oblivion. It was probably when I first played it, maybe a little bit early into my appreciation of the RPG genre. I really enjoyed Skyrim, so I fully support the embrace the jank movement.
Nonsense.
So I'm going to take all of that and discredit everything, both sides of the game, and I'm going to go for the fact that you done me dirty with Silent Hill. So I'm going to vote for the Elder Scrolls, and we're going to bump a fighter out of this. I'm not even taking.
What?
I'm not even taking a game.
Wow.
I'm not taking their critiques into consideration. You done me dirty. Tekken can get in the bin as far as I'm concerned.
This man's never played a Silent Hill in his life. He's never played one. Living La Vida podcast is going to be absolutely livid with that one. And to be fair, they have a point because that's a disgrace. That is a disgrace.
Fair play.
Disgrace. Rest in peace, Batman. That's all I'm saying. Who's next?
Let's please try to stay on topic of the particular games. Okay, so the Elder Scrolls goes through, and what for me I presumed would be a shock against Tekken. absolute banter. Speaking of banter, we have in the next round these games. Sorry, I'm just trying to compose myself. These games knocked out Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West, which probably shouldn't have been knocked out, and Spyro the series. Okay. So that leaves us with the Batman Arkham games versus Metal Gears, the Metal Gear Solids, and so on.
Easy peasy. Metal Gear
This is
Solid.
an absolutely easy decision. It is going to be Metal Gear Solid. It's done more for gaming as a movement, a history, than the Arkham series ever could.
Agreed.
I will say something about the cape mechanic in Arkham Knight nearly broke the entire development. I remember seeing a video about this. People were using it to speed run.
Still do.
They were exploiting the cape mechanics to speed run the map. So I think when you inadvertently create something like that, that has to be commended. But Metal Gear Solid, I don't really think there's been an installment, maybe 5, 4 that doesn't really miss. Even Peace Walker, a PSP game, to be considered one of the greatest games ever made as well.
Sorry. What are we saying about 4? The absolute masterpiece?
It's not.
I like it. I think it's too long.
That back. Look, you walk back a Agent Solid Snake into Shadow Moses. And you feel that. Oh, that's incredible. Look, let's take it back. Hang on. We are now a Metal Gear Solid podcast. When we talk about Metal Gear Solid 4 and we think back to the weird zones where you were in a white world of nothingness shooting up a lady in tight-fitting overalls. I don't know why that existed or why it was there. Okay, you have a point. That was strange. Everything else, c'est magnifique. Anyway,
the storyline.
Metal Gear Solid.
The storyline of Metal Gear Solid 4 is superb, but does it have to be told in hour-and-a-half long cutscenes? No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Simple.
Next question.
It's Metal Gear Solid.
Our second quarterfinal. I think we're unanimous on that anyway.
Yes.
You were very polite mentioning Batman. I think part of the legacy of a franchise for me is the fact that Hideo Kojima now, even though he's got his independent studio, is having to revert back and say, or not revert back, but to say he's going to develop a stealth action.
Oh, he's going back to roots. He's already got this partnership with Sony that there's a stealth game coming. So I quite like this idea. Then I did see something just on a slight tangent about Kojima. He wants to bring in a game that has like deteriorating health mechanics. So like the longer you don't play the game, it'll be building on the idea of the end dying.
Mm-hmm.
If you stop playing the game, your character will forget plot beats.
Hideo.
I think that's awful. That's awesome. I think that idea sounds incredible. Like you get sucked in and hooked in. Then if you forget, then you have to go back and remember, like the character has to go back and remember that to advance the plot. I think as a real life mechanic in a game, I mean don't miss that way.
As a concept, it's absolutely fine. I mean, Kojima, you can do what you want. You do what you want. We've said this plenty of times. Kojima, he does what he wants. But
he does what he wants.
How many games have you started playing and you went, maybe a month, maybe 2 months, and you go, do you know what? I'll pick that game back up. You stick it on, can't remember the controls, and you instantly go, no. So you're telling me that the protagonist also forgets what the game's about? No, thank you.
I mean, like, I would like to see that implemented in Jedi Survivor. Cal Kestis doesn't know how to use a lightsaber, but there we are. You know, I think that would be genius.
This sounds like Metal Gear Tamagotchi.
Exactly.
I don't need that. I don't need that stress in my life. Anyway, that's the left-hand side of the board done, folks.
Beautiful.
Round of 16. We are moving on to the right-hand side, and this is... It's not going to be an easy side of the board. Okay.
This is a walk by comparison.
Yes, we've had a good time up until now. Well, we'll see. This one might be okay. So these two knocked out Ratchet and Clank and Killzone. Bye-bye. They're gone forever. Sorry, guys. That leaves us with Resident Evil and Wipeout.
Okay. Where do you start with this one? I'm going Resident Evil. I think it's the franchise. It is the franchise. I know it's never been a PlayStation exclusive apart from 2 and 3. But again, it's one of those franchises you associate wholeheartedly with the PlayStation brand. And it's just, the original trilogy are incredible. Even still today, they're 30, the first one's nearly 30 years old. It still plays great today. The remake is the gold standard in remakes. It's just incredible. Resident Evil 7, incredible. Resident Evil 4 is arguably one of the best games ever made. I mean, it is.
Yeah, I mean, like 4 set this like pivot from survival horror to survival action horror.
Yeah, I mean, action horror.
And to do that, to decide after like 3 solid titles and a well-established franchise at this point to go, do you know what we need to do? A complete overhaul in how the game is played. Manic, and it paid off so well, really.
Yeah, see, I don't know if Capcom decided that. That's the only thing about Resident Evil 4. I mean, every review for Code Veronica was like, this is boring now. Please do something different. And they tried some stuff different, like Outbreak and the Gun Survivor series. Good Lord. And then they landed rather fortuitously on action horror with Resident Evil 4 after 3 failed prototypes for it. But it turned out to be one of the best games ever made. I think Resident Evil 7 is a really, really, really great survival horror game. You have the stinkers, don't get me wrong, the Gun Survivor series. You have Resident Evil 6, which are bad games. But then you have Resident Evil 7, which is just really, phenomenal. Really, really good.
Yeah, just a real return to form. And then like to go, again, another pivot to go, we're going back to survival horror and we're also going first person and just find a new way to tell a story and a new way to bring in a new characters and sort of refresh and re-energize old characters as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going Resident Evil.
I mean, I'm absolutely going Resident Evil as well. I think just mirroring all your points, 6 is a bit of a stinker. But I don't associate 6 as a PlayStation game. I think I associate everything else. For some reason, I specifically associate 6 with the Xbox, and I go, that's probably why it's bad.
It has. I mean, 6 has its moments. 6 have some really solid moments. It's just forgotten about
in the rest of it. Yeah.
A host of awful.
Well,
decisions.
let me tell you about Wipeout. Okay.
Because I feel as if it needs a mention here. I feel as if it's going to be washed over by the Resident Evil fanboys here.
It is. It's already gone. But Wipeout VR on the PS4 was one of my favorite experiences on the VR system, PSVR, and still is. It's fantastic. I think I spent 6 hours one day 1v1ing a pal in Wipeout VR.
Incredible.
Like virtually just doing every track. And it was one of the toughest racing experiences I had. But my vote is for nothing. Resident Evil goes through.
Yeah. What I love about this so far is the man who does not play horror, but will watch us stream horror, will actively participate in horror conversations as well.
Yeah.
You're an enigma, Cardinal Smith, is all I'll say on that.
As I said in the last time, I've seen the Resident Evil movies, and I'll watch your streams.
And that's it. And the appreciation of the horror genre, I think, is one thing to be said as well. You won't partake in it, but the appreciation is there, and you have to commend that.
If I'm playing a horror game, I just need. It's okay if I can control the aspects of me maybe running away or fighting back, but horror games put you in that position where you're not in control.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, we're in the last 3 round of 16 pairings. All 3 of these are not going to be easy.
They are.
Okay, so the next one knocked out Ghost of Tsushima and the Resistance games. You sound easy enough picks, and then you hear the matchup. It's the Last of Us franchise versus the Final Fantasy franchise.
I wonder who Cardinal's voting for. Start us off, Cardinal.
Okay. I'm probably going to go with the Final Fantasy series.
What?
That sounds like a cliche.
Shock.
But I bought The Last of Us on PS3, or I asked for a Christmas present or something because I was so excited. People said it was going to be the best game. I find it too creepy to play. But I really appreciate it. I want to watch it. Final Fantasy, however, I think is, as a franchise on the PlayStation from 1997, 1998 onwards, has been massive. You guys talked about the fall-offs of various franchises here, like Silent Hill, whatever it was, Resident Evil 6. Final Fantasy's had a save.
Mm-hmm.
They're all personal because I think everyone has a sort of their own opinions, but everything beyond 10, essentially up until 14, and then include 15 because that wasn't great. That was not a great release. 16's incredible. I say every episode you got to play Final Fantasy 16 one day.
Yeah.
As a franchise, I think it's massive. So it has to go through for me. It gets my.
Yeah, I have to appreciate a franchise that, the first installment Final Fantasy, because Square was going to close down and they thought, right, let's just go out in a blaze of glory here, and 16 installments and then some later. It's like, when will it actually be the Final Fantasy?
And then they had the reoccurring thing where, if in case of financial problems, remake 7.
Exactly. Yeah. That's it.
Smash.
So, they're set for life. I don't think we have to worry about Square anymore.
Touch wood.
I mean, you'd think that, but Square, notoriously awful at business.
So I'm going to balance the scales a little bit on this by saying that the only Final Fantasy games I have to compare this to are 7 remake, and 10 and the 16 demo.
Okay, excellent.
What Final Fantasy has that The Last of Us doesn't? I'm going to quote my favorite line ever from Final Fantasy X here. Ha 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 ha. And that's pretty much it. The Last of Us is just transcending even just PlayStation as a gaming experience. It was like, I bought a PS3 secondhand so I could play The Last of Us. I bought my PS4 with The Last of Us package remastered and everything. I think I've owned every Last of Us Part 1 addition there is to own at the minute. And every time I play it, it still hits me in all of the feels at the same beats every time, and I know it's coming. And a game that continually ruins you emotionally, no matter how many times you play that game, I think that has to say something there. Other cinematic experience, got to be The Last of Us for me.
Oh, big decision coming up.
But it doesn't have har.
It doesn't.
So points down.
But what it does have is possibly the greatest protagonist in video game history, Lightning.
Lightning McQueen's a better protagonist.
Ciao.
My Final Fantasy playing history on PlayStation, it's Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9. I think I said last week, can't remember a thing about 9. I've played 10 as well. 10's great. Don't care what anyone says. 10's great. And I haven't played any since then because I played peak Final Fantasy. I don't need to continue with the series anymore. I did play Final Fantasy 16 demo. I think I said on this podcast is incredible.
Quality demo.
Really, really, really incredible. But does it allow me to run headfirst into a zombie apocalypse and take a child that's not mine to the Fireflies in order to save not only me, but humanity? No, it's never given me that at all. And that's why I'm going with The Last of Us. The Last of Us.
You can't.
It's incredible.
Cardinal forbids it. You're not allowed.
And that's where I press my golden buzzer.
Everything Tomahawk said about the game is 100% accurate. It is an absolute masterclass in how to effectively tell a story in a video game. I was talking about the most recent episode of the TV show in a private chat with someone, and we were talking about specifically spores. And I was like, one of the things about the game that they removed from the TV show that really annoyed me is that spores just don't exist. And then we were talking about spores as in the video game, what they actually did. And they don't do anything from a gameplay perspective at all in the video game. What it does do is it creates environmental storytelling. Everywhere there's spores, there's incidental details in the background that tell a story. And that is what The Last of Us does really well. It doesn't just tell a great story, but in a very, very, very linear game, it creates this believable world that's full of stories, full of characters, and it is stories that personally, every time I play it, I want to explore every character that's in it, and I want to see the world. I want to see more of the world. We were talking about a potential Last of Us Part 3 as well. I think The Last of Us is perfectly set up to become like an anthology series where every sequel could be different characters in different locations.
Oh yeah, like a Tales of, kind of thing.
I think The Last of Us is incredible. I think it is a masterpiece in video game storytelling. I think it's a masterpiece in environmental storytelling in video games. It's emotionally gut punches the life clean out of you. No matter how many times I play The Last of Us, the cold opening to The Last of Us is just, it's incredible.
Even like taking part 2, because I feel as if we are lingering on the part 1 side of things. Even how part 2 takes its narrative and like forces you to like sympathize with characters you're not really supposed to sympathize with as well. Like it's such, like Neil Druckmann does this incredible thing about like subverting your expectation on a game as well. It's just, we'll talk all day next week on The Last of Us and everything about it. But
part two, just to finish it off, part 2 is a great way of saying you have to do this, but you will feel
you'll not want to do it
about doing these things. And it just emotionally resonates on so many different levels. The two of them, I think, putting together, incredible.
Yeah. So listeners, if you're listening still at this stage and you've just to wake you up, these two guys are just like, I like zombies. That seems to be their personality. Like that's what they're connecting to. Like,
we're just going to gush over this for a while.
I just relate to zombies. Okay, fair enough. Well, I relate to emotionally stunted orphans, men who struggle to comprehend interactions with humans normally and then make friends, like
Sounds
all
like
good Final Fantasies.
But it's
However,
gone now.
at 2-1, you're out.
It's out. See you later, Final Fantasy.
Rip. Okay, never existed. Ah, that hurts. Right, the next matchup, let's get into it. These games knocked out Devil May Cry, Dante's Gone, and the Uncharted series.
Oh, no, I know what this
This
is.
is not the one I've been looking forward to the least. No.
Ouch. Uncharted out in round one? Okay. That leaves the God of War versus Bloodborne / Demon Souls.
I'm going to take the lead on this one, I think. Bloodborne, we've said our piece on Bloodborne. It's an utter masterpiece. It's something like the best work FromSoft have ever done. God of War. Again, we talked about this last week about how it can take the hack and slash trilogy format and then completely go, how do we turn this into a linear action, like narrative masterpiece?
Mm-hmm.
Twice. It continued that with Ragnarok and then just elevated it completely. Like, I'm going to boil this down to what I think is more accessible as a title in the long run. So my pick is going to be God of War, and it pains me to say that. Yeah, it's one of these, like, the lesser of two evils here at the minute, and both of them are going to kill my happiness either way. If I picked the other, if I said Bloodborne, I would be disappointed that God of War didn't get to go through. So I'm going to put my foot in the God of War camp. I just think it did something I didn't expect from its origins, really.
Yeah.
Blew me away.
To drag this one out.
No.
Game of the generation of the PlayStation 4, Bloodborne.
What?
Wow.
Do you want to expand on that?
No, I feel as if that's it. I think we talked for 2 years about Bloodborne as well. I think Love has said his piece.
It's the best game on PlayStation 4.
Okay. So how do we separate Bloodborne and God of War? Well, the question is, would the hunter take on Kratos? What kind of boss fight would that be for the hunter?
A short one, probably.
An absolute one shot if I ever saw it.
Yeah. It's when you take the wrong direction and go to the wrong area too early. That's what that
is. Does the hunter ever at any point have a chance against Kratos?
In a physical one-on-one? No, I don't believe so. The hunter's just...
Yeah.
He's just cursed to endure the hunt, and he will die hundreds of times in his journey
and still not learn his lesson.
Kratos would kill him. He would keep on coming back, and that's the only thing. But if Kratos is a skill jump, most players will probably give up. Let's be honest.
Could you imagine playing Bloodborne and Kratos as your first boss? Like, boy, instead of like Father Gascoigne, you had to fight Kratos. You would put that game down and rage quit forever.
Oh, you'd leave. Yeah. You'd swear off From Software. You really would.
I think that would make a legendary game, like an absolute first boss you just cannot beat.
If it's ever a crossover event for the ages, that'd be one, definitely. I just want to also make another point as well that Bloodborne relies heavily on like environmental context and environmental storytelling as well, which I think puts off a lot of viewers and a lot of players and stuff as well. I do quite like that thing because it gives me that sense of full immersion in the world, whereas God of War is like, go here, smash box, pick up next thing, smash box, do arbitrary puzzle.
You're a god, boy.
Linear.
You talk about environmental storytelling like you just wash over the fact in Spirit and Final Fantasy X, the world is haunted by sin across everywhere in the world. Anyway, sorry, that was the last round. Look, folks, this round, that is environmental storytelling. I don't know what to go for here. Can I have a 10-second pitch from both of you, please.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, let Luvva go first on that one.
Yeah, Bloodborne isn't just a great game. It was, in fact, the game of the PlayStation 4 generation.
I tried to keep a straight face.
I mean, it's that good. It's incredible. It is incredible.
Tomahawk, God of War, 10 seconds.
It's the only God of War, and it's going to be the quote from the very start of God of War 2018. It was, "Let's go hunt deer. Where's the deer? Where do deer live?"
Boy.
That's it. Just boy. I have to go with Kratos' character development, character arc over this entirety of this franchise over hack/die repeat. As much as I love hack/die repeat,
sounds like a skill issue to me.
Shut up, you're a skill issue.
Look, and I start thinking about commercial success. I start thinking about development of the franchise. That sends me to God of War.
Wow. All I'm going to say to that is, Cardinal, not 5 minutes ago, you said, do you know what would be a really fun game? If there was a game with an unbeatable boss, that would be great. Demon Souls has that with the Armored Spider. Can't beat it. Quit. See you later. You've messed up here. God of War 3. Disgraceful. The game of the generation can't beat. Wow.
It's about a franchise.
I told you I wasn't going to be happy with whatever happened here, but I'm not pleased.
God of War's great.
I'm not pleased with this. I don't think I could be happy with any of these outcomes, to be honest, because it meant that.
And Tom, it doesn't matter, because the next round is going to be maybe just as bad, depending on what happens. These last two knocked out Crash Bandicoot. That's pretty big at the PlayStation, and Spider-Man.
Nexus point for the podcast, to be honest. Yeah.
This is a divisive one. This is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater franchise versus the Astrobot franchise.
Oh.
Yike-a-rabba.
Can I start? I think I'm gonna put it out here. Astrobot. Just I didn't have much more of a pitch than that, to be quite honest.
Astrobot shrugs. Who cares?
There's just something to be said about, like, it just looks gorgeous all the time. Like, there has not been an unenjoyable experience with any Astrobot. I will probably argue and say skill issues do come into play in Tony Hawk quite a bit for myself, but I've played one, I've played two, I've played the 1 and 2 remake, and that's pretty much it. It's a skate game at the end of the day. I do really like a good platformer. I like everything that Astrobot kind of offers. And yeah.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I really like platformers, he says. Last episode, it's Astrobot, it's a platformer, isn't it?
Yeah, but I do like.
It's not really doing that much.
Doing that much. When you compare it to Spider-Man, which was like the full-blown AAA like adventure game,
This man.
I'm gonna flip-flop as the situation calls for it. So.
You don't have to flip-flop. All right. I'm going to tell you right now that you're absolutely wrong. You are wrong. All right. Astrobot is fantastic. It's incredible. It is amazing. But is Astrobot the top rated game on PlayStation 5? No, it is not the top rated game on PlayStation 5. In fact, it's not even top 3. I'll tell you what is top 3. Tony Hawk 3 is one of the top 3 rated games on PlayStation 2, one of the greatest games consoles of all time. Tony Hawk 2 is the single best rated game on PlayStation 1. They are incredible titles. They capture the culture of skateboarding. Yes, they are skate games, but they are much, much, much more than that. They are high score arcade games. They are open world free roaming skating games. If you really wanted to be, if you're playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, it is an incredible franchise. It did a lot for skateboarding worldwide. It made every skateboarder in the game a household name. It made the career of Bam Margera before he drove it into the ground. But it also turned it. I am convinced there is a generation of people who got into skateboarding who had their music taste shaped by these games. I know that for a fact because I'm one of them. It changed Tony Hawk's life, this game. It actually impacted his life. It turned him from a normal everyday skater into a multi-millionaire literally overnight. It is a great game. The infinite replayability. They're just games that never get boring, and they changed the life of Goldfinger and CKY and stuff, turned them into household names. It is a game that transcends its genre. It is a game that transcends gaming in many, many, many ways. It's a brilliant series, apart from 5. 5 can get in the bin. But the Neversoft games are masterpieces, every single one of them. Every single one of them. Tony Hawk Pro Skater deserves to go 3 over Astrobot.
Okay.
Rest in peace.
Well, no, Tony Hawk Pro Skater is an absolute legend. It's got a legacy. He talked about how it launched that music culture, skating kind of group beyond its game and into society, into a wider group. It's massive, and the fact that it's coming back, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Next month.
Yeah. And I was never like that great at it. I remember being all right at it because I kept playing the demo, the 10-minute demo again and again and again until I finally got the game.
Yeah.
Then Astrobot was a demo on the PSVR. And before it started getting its own games. Oh man, I don't know. Because the one thing I have is the fact that I've played Astrobot on the PS5, which is the game of the PS5 right now.
Okay.
For me. I mean, sure, it says on my PlayStation that's been played for more than 200 hours.
Right.
That is factual.
Wow. Okay.
But oh gosh, not by me. I've got a daughter. I don't know what to do again as Kingmaker, except I do because I have to do this because this is a podcast. I need to make a decision. Yep. For me, it's I'm looking at, if I look at Metacritic scores, it's Astrobot's the only rated 10 plus game in the top 5, whereas the rest are rated M. Tony Hawk's one of the highest rated games ever. Tony Hawk's 2. I can't even go off that.
Go with your heart.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, everybody. But I'm sending both through. It's golden buzzer time. No, sorry. It's Astrobot.
Oh, devastation. Tony Hawk, my boy, in third.
I can't
try to do 900, land it flat in his face. Try, Tony. If you'd like to send hate mail to Cardinal Smith.
Guys, that's it. We've just lost Twisted Metal. Okay, we've just lost Silent Hill. We've lost Tekken. We've lost Batman Arkham series. We've lost Wipeout. We've lost Final Fantasy. Absolutely ridiculous. We've lost Bloodborne, Demon's Souls, and we've just lost Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Wow, that's an absolute savage.
There's a lot that I thought we were going to go. There's a lot of picks I thought the outcomes are right and just. There's a couple there that I'm a bit shocked and not surprised, and a bit surprised by, to be honest. But we have our final 8. We have our quarterfinals.
There was some really tough choices in there.
Big choices to make, yeah.
So it was, but let's get into we'll take a wee moment here, we'll take a wee break, and then we'll get into the quarterfinals. Okay, gentlemen, now we've had our emotional hiatus, let's get into the quarterfinals. These are the biggest games on PlayStation, but we need just one game and we're not going to do that sitting around here thinking about having made the right choice in previous rounds. Let's get straight into it. Cardinal, quarterfinal one. What do we got?
It's Tomb Raider versus Street Fighter. Luvva.
Oh,
this isn't getting easier.
Oh my days!
Really
I don't know which one to pick again.
Yeah, I'm going Street Fighter.
Right. Here's my problem, and I'll interrupt you, Tom, because in the missing episode 105, stolen by people against podcasts, both of these games rated in my highest iconic, characters.
This is tough.
I have an affinity for both of them in many different ways. Street Fighter, as you say, it's this arcade culture. Street Fighter 2, no matter where I go, always seems to kind of follow me.
Mm-hmm.
One way or another, at least anyway, I should.
If only there was certain people who could help you with people stalking you.
Tomb Raider, however, just always keeps me on my toes and keeps me like, there's no way, like, when you have to actively play Tomb Raider 1 with a guide at 33 years of age because you're still too stupid to play it properly. Says something about the game design as a whole. Yes, it has had its little bumps in the road. It has had this reinvention to kind of compete with Uncharted and such. My heart tells me Tomb Raider.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's where I stand on this one.
Okay.
Right. Well, let me tell you, if it's Tomb Raider and Street Fighter, this is a PlayStation franchise.
Yep.
It's time I kill the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Lara Croft's going through.
Wow.
It's Tomb Raider.
Okay.
No way.
All I want to say is this is indeed a PlayStation franchise. Tomb Raider 1 was a Sega Saturn exclusive for 6 weeks, so I'm saying. But anyway.
What's a Sega Saturn?
Exactly. That's why I only went for 6 weeks. I'm all right with Tomb Raider. I love Tomb Raider, so yeah, I'm all right with that. Folks, one of the most iconic characters in video game history, Lara Croft.
Well, I had that and Ryu and Chun-Li. That's for a different episode. Yeah. Okay, the next matchup is Elder Scrolls series versus the Metal Gear series.
Right, I just want to say this right now. This stops now. The Elder Scrolls, its wee run of nonsense stops now. It's Metal Gear. Do the right thing, Cardinal. Less of your nonsense. The Elder Scrolls, a game that's never run properly on PlayStation consoles, cannot go any further. It shouldn't even be here. It shouldn't even be in this competition.
Lad, what makes you think it runs better on PC? It PC gets patches.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. A game that doesn't run ever should never be considered one of the greatest franchises of all time. This has to stop. Do the right thing, gentlemen.
Imagine how good it would be if it worked.
But can Solid Snake Fus Roda off the top of a mountain?
Hold on. Cardinal told me a few weeks ago that the dragon calls are worthless in this game. I have no idea.
What are you talking about?
Me and you were discussing this. I can't remember well, but you were like, they're useless and I don't worry about it.
Well,
I mean, for the sake of moving things along, I'm also going to vote for Metal Gear Solid because as much as Embrace the Jank can get you, Metal Gear Solid trumps it every day of the week. I just think
in every single way.
Like, it's flawless by comparison.
Open world games. Metal Gear Solid 5. That's all I'm saying.
Metal Gear Solid 5 beats Oblivion.
Skyrim. It's not even finished. Neither was Skyrim.
Metal Gear doesn't have dragons. Anyway, Metal Gear, one of my favorite franchises of all time. I never left school to go play Elder Scrolls games. Did leave school halfway through at lunchtime to go play Metal Gear Solid 2 on release. Hello, Metal Gear goes through.
Yes.
You see, since I let it go through purely for comedic value at this point, but it's come across an opponent worthy, and Metal Gear Solid has been felled.
That's right, because Tekken wasn't worthy. Anyway.
I mean, wow.
Well, what this means is our first semi-final.
Well, that is, we'll think about that next round, because I'm going to launch us right into this, because this is the penultimate quarterfinal is indeed Resident Evil versus The Last of Us. Come on, zombie boys. What's it going to be now?
Oh my days.
Let me start you off, because I don't know which way I'm flipping. I'll not say. Carry on.
I know where Cardinal's going.
I think I know where Cardinal's going too, but it's how long we can labour the point before he gets his say in.
I don't.
I have no idea where to go with this one. I actually didn't realize this was a matchup. I thought they were going to avoid each other till the semi. And in the semi, I don't know. Let's look at the merits. The Last of Us, we discussed that great length last round. I think my feelings on The Last of Us is well known, the stage of the game.
And next month's Game of the Month episode, tune in next week.
Exactly.
Resident Evil, I've called it the game franchise in every round so far. I'm going to say it again. It is the game franchise. I don't think I have ever had a video game experience quite like playing Resident Evil in 1996. It was completely different, and it changed what I personally felt a video game could be.
Yeah.
I grew up in the Master System Mega Drive eras playing platformers based on cartoons, and they were all pretty awful. And then 1996 rolls around, and all of a sudden you had a game come out where the rolling demo on the PlayStation magazine disc was censored with literal boxes that said censored, cutting out blood. The opening sequence was in black and white over here, so you couldn't see the blood. And then you had the story of the game. I know it's cheesy and all that sort of good stuff, but at the time it was right up there with one of the best stories in video gaming. Just where the game industry was. And then you had the remake in 2001.
Gold standard for remake. I think absolutely it's so good. I've had the luck of playing both of them, and the remake just is this great standard, and nothing is like taken away or compromised in it. It's just pure. It's perfection, I think, in a remake sense of the word as well. I fully back that statement.
Everything the original had, bettered, and then more at it. That's what the remake is. And then Resident Evil 2, incredible. Resident Evil 3, my personal favorite of the original trilogy, incredible. Code Veronica, incredible. Well, it's very good. Then Resident Evil 4, one of the best games ever made. And with all that being said, I have to stand up for my boy.
Okay.
And say Resident Evil.
There is no world in which Luvva doesn't say Resident Evil and Tomahawk doesn't say Last of Us.
I mean, Cardinal Smith is 100% correct. I am saying The Last of Us. I think just for a duology, we'll say that much, has challenged me in how like a story is told and how like it's not just a game at the end of the day. I think I lean on this cinematic experience thing, but it's a full-blown roller coaster of like themes and emotions. And even part 2, it just goes, see that lovely cuddly feeling that you had for these characters, throw that in the bin, because they're going to now challenge you in ways that you didn't think a fictional character is going to challenge you. We're going to bring in these new other narrative pieces, and you're going to have to root for them, like it or not. Mm-hmm. I think the minds behind it changed how everything's done. It set this like benchmark for these narrative-based games, and just the seamless look they have. They go from, cinematic to cutscene with near flawlessly. Like, I think the phenomenon that is The Last of Us just has to take it.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that I haven't had many video game experiences that equaled the original Resident Evil. The Last of Us Part 1 is
not far.
It's probably more. So for me, I have no issue with The Last of Us going 3. In fact, I think it probably deserves to. It does deserve to.
Should have voted for it then. With one vote each.
Oh, we're at the mercy of the man who's not played any of them.
I have played both. I have played because they've both been in season challenges.
True.
But I did play Resident Evil back in the day, or tried to. I made it to the bleeding out cop. Anyway, that's the start of the game. I did watch a lot of Resident Evil be played. Beside, as a franchise, they're both huge in their own way. Resident Evil has reinvented itself. In my eyes, as an outsider, it's changed how it is. Okay, it's gone through movies, which were only good for one aspect.
I swear, if you judge this based on the movies, I will kill you.
If you base it on the movies / adaptations, Last of Us has to win.
Thankfully I'm not. But
I think
the Last franchise
has to go through here.
Why are you saying you think the Last of Us has to go through?
I don't
ultimate
know.
renege, it feels, but Cardinal, let's hear it. You're our tiebreak, and I will accept whatever decision comes.
Okay, that's good. Oh, right. Here's where I'm at, because I want to say Resident Evil. And I don't like any of the modern Resident Evil games. I don't like them. They
How
freak
modern
me
are
out.
you talking?
I'm
7,
talking
8?
all of them post 3.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Well, that's the franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking. If you only like the first 3 games, that's 33% of the mainline titles.
I don't like them. I just can watch them easier. But in terms of, does Resident Evil deserve to go ahead of Last of Us? Maybe. I think there's a case for that.
I agree. I think they're both really stellar games. You have to keep in mind, Resident Evil's 30 years old in a few months. And obviously game standards have changed in that time. But
I'm willing to wait for this episode to come out and let people answer in a poll right now. We'll just keep recording.
If only we were live on Twitch.
Yeah. Okay, if I have to snip it in the bud, then...
Which game, after playing the challenge, would you go back to play again?
The Last of Us.
There you go. There's your answer. I mean, during our Phasmophobia review, I think Ghost Kai said, it said a lot about a game. If it scared the life of you, you don't want to play it, but you would go back to play it.
I did go back to play The Last of Us after the challenge, but I got scared again. Anyway, that is the end of Resident Evil, and I had typed Resident Evil into my phone because I thought I was going to say it.
Oh,
it's one of those ones. Both great games, but one has to go. I think they're both certain games of those 2 franchises are masterpieces. Both games of The Last of Us is, in my opinion.
And speaking of masterpieces, the final matchup of this round is God of War versus Astrobot.
Okay.
The plucky little robot has made it this far.
This robot's making a run for it. Like it's the Greece of 2004 Euros, isn't it? No one really fancied it. Here it goes.
No, Astrobot is incredible.
I agree.
I should have got the plushie. And to be honest, I'm going to go Astrobot on this one.
I was this close to pulling the trigger on Astrobot today, and then I remembered that I have pre-ordered the Capcom Fighting Collection 2. That comes out on Friday. But I was that close. The chat from last week was like, I need to play this game. What was God of War?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. And what are you going for, Tom?
I'm going to go for God of War. I think the stance I've had throughout is like a game that has reinvented itself and then just went, here's like this, like no character arc, just hates the gods, hack and slash.
Yeah.
Let's give him a whole like redevelopment. Let's humanize him. Let's, give him an arc to end all character arcs. Gotta be God of War in this instance.
Okay.
It just did so much and changed so much, and just everyone loved it, and they will continue to make more.
Yeah.
They have this infinite well to make more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it will be great. I can guarantee it.
Right. Okay. Well, that puts me in this position then.
It's not nice, is it?
One's got to go.
Not nice.
Right. Astrobot. I have not played Astrobot 2024. I have played all the other ones, and they're great. They're all great. I like everything about Astrobot except the design of Astrobot. He's cute and all that. I get it, but it's a bit basic. God of War 1, excellent game. God of War 2, excellent game. God of War 3, excellent game. God of War 4, or God of War 2018, masterpiece. And I haven't finished Ragnarok, but it's every bit as good as 2018. I'm sorry, Cardinal. But
Ripperino.
Astrobot couldn't beat Kratos in a fight.
So God of War goes through.
It's a shame.
That, folks, leads us into our semi-final.
Okay. Have we all recovered? We all had our slice of orange at the halftime there?
Not ready for this.
Bad luck, because the ref has blown his whistle. We're game on again. We are now in the height. This is the semi-finals. The last 4 games standing. We have Tomb Raider versus Metal Gear Solid. And on the other side, we have The Last of Us versus God of War. This is violence. Yeah. That's what this is. This is violence. And the way the draws went, it's beautiful. OG PlayStation franchise playing off against one another, and PlayStation 4 era franchises playing against one another.
It is possibly the top 4 we should be expecting here, but it's just not an easy decision here.
Wow. I thought I'm not, before we get into this, at certain points of this, I think I've made the wrong call here and picked maybe the wrong game. But at the start of this, if you're going to give 4 franchises that deserve to be in the semi-final to be named the definitive PlayStation franchise, these 4 are probably the 4, I think. But it's grim that 2 of these games are going to fall. In the next 10-ish minutes, 3 of these games are going to fall, and we're going to be left with one, the definitive PlayStation franchise. And I think
we just have to get into it now.
We have to get into it. So. Again, we've been recording for a very, very, very long time here, gentlemen. We need to draw a line under this. The people demand to know who their champion is going to be. And I say we get there. Let's go. Cardinal, what is semi-final 1?
Look, we'll already have been cancelled at this stage. Don't worry about it. Let's just commit. Our semi-final 1 is Tomb Raider versus the Metal Gear Solid franchise. Gentlemen, let's proceed.
Wowzers. I know how this is going to go. I know how it's going to go, because you boys are Kojima fanboys. But real players, we know what the right answer is here. We are talking about video game franchises on the PlayStation. We are talking about a game that debuted on the Sega Saturn. We are talking about the start of a cultural revolution in England, Europe, and the world. We are talking about the first leading lady of video games. Keep me your Samus nonsense, Nintendo fans. She has no place in this conversation. We're talking about Lara Croft. One of the
I thought you were talking about Meryl.
We are talking about one of the most, if not the most recognizable video game protagonists in the world. We're talking about a game that wasn't only incredible when it released. We're talking about a game that was revolutionary when it released. It changed everything. Tomb Raider was that important for PlayStation core. It's important for everyone. It's a semi. The right game has to go through. And I think for all of Metal Gear Solid's as a franchise strength, there's one thing that drags Metal Gear Solid down as a franchise. And people won't want to hear this, but I'm going to say it anyway. And it is the little bits of arrogance that Kojima shows, and a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for here? I feel sometimes Kojima doesn't respect the player's time. Metal Gear Solid 4 with an hour and a half cutscene tells me everything I need to know. Can't pause it. I mean, you can pause it. You can turn your PlayStation 3 off, but when you turn it back on, you're going to get thrown back to the start of that. It doesn't even play where you left it. Thrown back to the start. If you don't watch that 90-minute cutscene, then you're watching that 90-minute cutscene from minute one the next time you turn your PlayStation on. I don't get me wrong. I'm jesting a lot, but I feel like core design, they respected the player. I know they're different genres and different eras and all that sort of good stuff, but I just feel that Hideo Kojima shows a little bit of arrogance in saying, you will watch my movie. And I'm specifically talking about Metal Gear Solid 4. You will watch my movie, when in actual fact, I wanted to play your game. And he forgets that in massive chunks of Metal Gear Solid 4. As much as I like Metal Gear Solid 4, it is a moments game. It is filled with great moments, but is the overall experience great? No, it's very good. And I just feel like of the two, I mean, I don't know, Terminator.
Okay.
It needs represented
Cardinal.
here, because I know what Cardinal's going to say.
Yeah, I know what Cardinal's going to say. So I'm going to let Cardinal say it first.
Yeah, okay. Look, he's talking about cutscene length. Metal Gear 4, that cutscene you're referring to, is in the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest video game cutscene. And I remember certain parts of it. Well,
I'll never forgive him for it.
I knew a chap in let's go. Metal Gear 3 came out and it was massive, and I knew someone who picked it up and they sold it the next day. They handed it back because the opening scene is at least 40 minutes long.
It is.
Cutscene chat back. You're like dropping down and you're just hearing codec calls and flashbacks to interrogations. Anyway, in terms of impact on the gaming industry, or I feel like Metal Gear has its own case there as well. I don't
agree.
think.
I agree.
In terms of mechanics, as technology implemented, Metal Gear stepped things up and moved things ahead and tried things that were brave. I totally agree about Lara Croft as a character and as a game. And I never played a game like that, and I was asking for it for like Christmas. I want to try this out. This sounds amazing. In terms of a franchise, though, you talked about PS1 classics going against each other. I'm going with Metal Gear.
Okay.
Snake.
All I want to say before Tom says anything here is, for all the great moments in Metal Gear Solid history, and it's full of it. It's full of it. Can any of those moments really stack up against level 3 Tomb Raider? You're at a waterfall. You walk through a cave. All of a sudden, you're greeted by a T-Rex. I don't think so.
I will also say can Metal Gear have a go-kart track around a tree-filled maze in a mansion? No?
So, I think the only real way we can split this is I'm going to ask you guys a question. Has Lara Croft ever showed up in a Super Smash Brothers game? No is the answer to that rhetorical question.
She showed up in PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
Irrelevant. I was talking about Super Smash Brothers. You both like make excellent points, and like I could mirror them all day long. I think the ones that grip me a little bit more on a narrative point, and I think it comes down to narrative really at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think
Kojima Darkness. You're right.
I think Kojima comes off a bit of arrogance, but I think this arrogance completely pays off because the players are just like, yes, it's dense, but we're focused on figuring out what the story. I mean, I still don't really know what the story is in Metal Gear. I'm constantly learning about it. I just think that the games stick with us just that little bit more, and I think on like the geopolitical stances on Metal Gear Solid 2 as well, just were like, now I can appreciate that. Metal Gear Solid 3, the ultimate like prequel. Metal Gear Solid 4 is that sort of intro to cinematic gaming at this point as well. Metal Gear Solid for me all day long.
Wow, I can't believe you just ignored the geopolitical message of Terminator 2. Unbelievable.
I mean, this is one of the easiest we've had.
I mean, the dinosaurs hiding behind waterfalls was so close.
Let me counter that with Metal Gear Online. Hello, Sony, please bring it back. And while you're at it, bring back PlayStation Home.
To be fair, it sounded like I really hate Metal Gear Solid. I don't actually love Metal Gear Solid as a franchise. I do genuinely I don't dislike Metal Gear Solid 4. I just don't think it's that good. Some of the best moments in the franchise have happened in Metal Gear Solid 4, by the way. The bit when you enter Shadow Moses and you walk past a mirror and he looks and then takes a step back.
He's in his OG polygons. Yeah.
Incredible. But yeah, old Snake, R.I.P. Barb. Okay. Semi. Well, so that means Metal Gear Solid's got 3. Which brings us on to our last semi. Remind me what this is, Cardinal.
I'm afraid this is The Last of Us versus God of War.
Okay. Yikes.
I'm just going to make a snap decision here, and I'm going to say The Last of Us. Okay. And I wouldn't want to labor that point any further, but I think that game changed everything from PS3 and has just done nothing but raise how a game is made and how a game is delivered and everything that The Last of Us has done. Only for the fact that they got the factions taken away, it would have been a completely perfect, unattainable score. But yeah, The Last of Us, that is what I'm locking in here, just purely on a snap decision.
Okay. Cardinal?
I'm not sure I should even take part in this one. I don't feel like maybe the pressure's getting to me. Do you know what? It's in the Astrobot feature level of the God of War. The music sticks with me. And music plays such a powerful part in games. And the fact that Final Fantasy isn't through in the final here is ridiculous. Along with Gran Turismo, the people's choices. But in this house, but in terms of the music, I would be sending through God of War.
Oh, interesting. Oh, this has got very interesting. I was not expecting. I don't know what I was expecting. But anyway, we talked about a lot of things there. Cardinal, you talked about music, the opening thing, The Last of Us, iconic. The score is probably better in God of War.
Yeah.
However, we need to be real here. Okay, we've got Sony Santa Monica versus Naughty Dog. That's what we got here.
Ooh.
We got the premier
2 bigger hitters, to be fair,
developers in the PlayStation stables. These are the big two. What do I think? I think they're both masterpieces. But like, God of War, great. The Last of Us, great. For very different reasons. I think it has to come down to, it's obviously going to be personal preference, but let's talk about, Tom said something very interesting there. Factions mode. Factions mode was incredible.
It was so good.
It breaks my heart every day that it doesn't exist. And I was so looking forward to The Last of Us Online before it was cancelled. It's an underrated game mode. Absolutely incredible to play and lots of fun. It basically introduced us three to each other, really,
yeah.
You know, it was the first game we played religiously together. It's hard to look past The Last of Us here. I'm sorry. I think both of them are great games. Both of them deserve to go through the final, but that's not the game we're playing here. Which one do I think is better? It's The Last of Us. I'm sorry, God of War.
Gentlemen, that is it. God of War is God of Gone, and so's Tomb Raider. It's been rated. Our final tonight is Metal Gear versus The Last of Us.
No, grim. Wow, what a way to end it. What?
And this is the greatest PlayStation franchise of all time.
Wow. I feel
empty. I feel as if there's no right answer anymore now.
Yeah. I feel like if we say The Last of Us, the first comment onto this podcast, it was going to be, that's recency bias. But I don't care what you say, random person from Belfast, because I'm going The Last of Us.
The first card has been dealt, and it's to The Last of Us. And you say recency bias, we're talking PS3 era. Calm down, Mr. Man from Belfast.
Yeah.
In the comment section.
Yeah, suck it.
What I would say is, what I would say every single round that Metal Gear is involved in, because Metal Gear was probably my winner from the start.
Okay.
I'm going to say Metal Gear series.
Oh. Tomahawk. It has come to you. This is for all the marbles. Keep in mind, this is what we're saying. This game franchise is not only one of the best, it is definitively the best franchise in PlayStation history.
Oh, this is not an easy decision. I feel as if The Last of Us doesn't exist because of Metal Gear, games like Metal Gear, those flag bearers at the start of the console, like of the PlayStation life cycle, never mind just the console life cycle. I love David Hayter. I love everything he does in his line delivery, his just vocal work for the franchise. I think the story, as bonkers as it is, just is grounded enough to still be like a plausible plot. The Last of Us also very plausible, a plot, quite grounded as a narrative as well. I think PS2, even Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3 for the PlayStation 2 just looked glorious. That's too much to be. Like, you could go all day. Like Last of Us 1 being like the last game on the PlayStation 3, the first game on the PlayStation 4. Glorious games. They've been remastered, remade, done all this, built up, and just they're at the pinnacle of what gaming, like how gaming looks in this modern age. I don't know. I really don't know.
It's a big decision.
It's a huge decision. I think that Final 4 was where I think this Final 2 is exactly what the Final 2 probably should have been. This is old guard versus new guard, essentially. Yeah. This is what it feels like. I think because we're not really ever going to see a Metal Gear Solid remake of the OGs or upscales or anything like that, I think just it's the flag bearer now. It's the flag bearer for the next 5 or 10 years easily. I think it's going to have to be The Last of Us as a definitive winner. It's the PlayStation's like flagship game, flagship title, like, and it's not budging anytime soon.
So just to confirm, Tomahawk, you do know this was for the definitive PlayStation franchise and not name that game. So we have done it. We have arrived at the end. The PlayStation's definitive franchise, the greatest of all time, is The Last of Us. I'm not going to lie, I didn't see this one coming. I thought it was going to go God of War, to be honest, in the last round.
It was just the finest of margins, really.
Yeah, I actually totally forgot about Factions Mode until you mentioned Factions Mode. I was like, do you remember that? I think I may have one of the very, very few reviews of Faction Mode on YouTube.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Incredible scenes. We have it. How are we all feeling about The Last of Us? I think it deserves it.
It feels right. And there has been some big hitters that went out early doors that possibly could have challenged it, but I still think it just bulldozed its way through. And it was I would say it was on the more difficult side of the draw as well.
100%. I think for me personally, half the time I voted for The Last of Us, I didn't think it was going to, but it is just that. It is I know it gets a lot of stick online for a lot of different reasons. You can't take away the quality of the games. They are just exceptionally well made. They are brilliant. I think I thought the final was going to be God of War. If it had fallen differently, I thought the final would have been God of War and this, to be honest. I just think it's really unfair in the older games, and especially like franchises like Metal Gear Solid, where you've sat and watched it go wrong because it's been around for 30 odd years. I think Silent Hill fell foul of that. To a lesser extent, Resident Evil fell foul of that. Whereas these newer franchises like God of War, The Last of Us, and all that sort of business, they haven't had the opportunity yet to really hit the skids and go completely bonkers. But no, I think Last of Us, that's it. It's the definitive PlayStation franchise according to High Scores, High Stakes, the only game in podcasting internet. Therefore, this is the only answer that really, really counts. I think it's worth it. I think we've talked about it to ad nauseum, this whole thing. It's a deserved winner. Deserves it all day long. How are you feeling, Cardinal?
Feeds right lovely into next week's episode as well. We'll just get to continue the conversation. It's great.
Oh, don't say that. People will say it's fixed. No, that's great. And you know, as soon as Tomahawk was talking about the last two, in my mind, I was thinking in terms of a legacy, or not legacy, franchise. Metal Gear's essentially finished.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to Konami. So you're looking ahead to where it's going to be in 10 years, as you mentioned. You guys have already talked about the different... For whatever it is, it's a fantastic winner. Well done, The Last of Us.
Well done, The Last of Us. And speaking of The Last of Us, I am on my last meter here of energy. I think we need to call this on. So, The Last of Us, definitive PlayStation franchise. Congratulations to Naughty Dog. They'll be expecting a trophy or something. I'll let you two sort that out while I get sorted here for the wrap-up section. Let's go. And that is it, gentlemen. Another episode all wrapped up. Incredible scenes. That was hard.
It was so difficult.
I
thought there'd be more quick fire answers, but no, we still had to fight a good bit for some of those picks. So
yeah,
but yeah, I think we came to the right decision.
I agree. That was a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be. I thought, that's when you came up with the idea, Tom, for this, and we battered back and forth about what games should and shouldn't be included. I thought this will be fun, but it very quickly didn't. It wasn't fun. It was really
suddenly
difficult.
It mattered.
Yeah,
exactly.
There's this pressure of we have to get the right quote unquote game to win this, don't you? And it's like I fought for Resident Evil. I still believe Resident Evil could have been a semi-finalist. I don't think Resident Evil could have won, but maybe. But I feel like if there's franchises you feel like you have to fight for us.
Exactly. Yeah. I think if Last of Us was on the other side of the bracket and like takes out Street Fighter early doors, and you maybe have The Last of Us in one side and then Resident Evil on the other side, you possibly have that as a final, maybe. But
yeah, God of War is on the other side.
Yeah, it is. It is what it is. Sadly, just the way it fell.
You could re-roll that and come up with a completely different conclusion, probably depending on the rules. It's one of those ones, but it was good fun. It's not that is our definitive franchise in PlayStation history. But what we want to know, everyone listening to this or watching this on YouTube, whatever it is you're watching this, what is your definitive PlayStation franchise? And why is it The Last of Us? Tell us in the comments below. Now, tell us what you would have picked. If you want to tell us what you would have picked in every round and every matchup, tell us that as well. We want to know, because this is all about conversations, isn't it? Because people will start shouting at us for picking the wrong games and wrong matchups and stuff like that. It is what it is. So if you want to do that, we encourage it. Leave a comment and tell us what you would have picked and who would have been your eventual winner. If you want to show Word documents or whatever it is you use to make those brackets, throw it up on our Discord link is on the website. Just click it, join up, leave your picks, whatever. But yeah, just get involved. Tell us that we made the right choice, tell us that we made the wrong choice and how stupid we are and all that sort of good stuff. But yeah, that is it. We're all done here, gentlemen. Let's just quickly do the housekeeping, and I mean quickly because we've been recording for a very long time. It's another week. And it's another epic recording session. So as I said at the start, if you haven't given us a star review yet and you've been listening to us for a while, please consider giving us 1 star to 5 stars, whatever you think we're worth. That's what we get. If you want to give us a written review, that helps us out an awful lot as well. Please do that. If you're watching this on YouTube, like a video, subscribe. That helps us out a ton. If you want to get more content to fill your week from High Scores High Stakes, the easiest place to do that is highscoreshighstakes.com. Just click on the social media you want to follow us on there and thumbs up. Just get that done. And as I said at the start, we have a merchandise shop as well now, where there's cups, there's t-shirts, there's hoodies, there's stickers, there's hats, there's a whole heap of stuff there. Just click on the merchandise on the top of the homepage and it'll bring you straight there. And with all of that being said, next week's episode is Game of the Month, and it is officially Game of the Month for the greatest PlayStation franchise of all time. So until then, I've been Mr. Luvva Luvva. This has been High Scores, High Stakes. Thanks. We'll see you on Monday. Thanks for watching. Love you all. Bye.
Ciao.